I pulled a Republican aside on the floor and I said, hey man, there's no cameras around here. I just want to understand. Like, I'm not here to put you on blast in front of a camera, just person to person. I genuinely want to understand, because people think that trying to understand another person means that you agree with them or that you're being soft on them. And it's a huge problem in this day and age, because that mentality really prevents people from being able to connect and persuade. But I pulled this guy aside and I said, hey man, like, I know that you represent a couple of rural hospitals, and this bill is going to devastate rural hospitals. I just want to know from your perspective, are you worried about that? What are you thinking about with your hospitals and your people? Because a lot of people don't know, like a ton of ACA recipients are in red states. A lot of Medicaid recipients are in red states. These are like Trump voters that are almost disproportionately, in many circumstances, being negatively affected. And so I said, like, walk me through how you see this. And he was like, yeah, I just don't believe it. He's like, I know that you guys need to make a big deal out of this to like score political points, but I just don't believe it. And I'm kind of sitting here like, this data shows that this bill is going to devastate a lot of people. But a lot of these folks just like don't believe that data. You know, there was one hospital in one of these districts I was like, yeah, we might have to close. And they are now on their back foot. Like, they thought this was just a Democratic talking point. And now that their own people are being affected and their own hospitals are warning them, they are now kind of low-key panicking. This whole fight about, Democrats are shutting down the government because they want healthcare for illegal immigrants. First of all, totally false. As I've said before, federal law prevents undocumented people from getting covered by ACA insurance, Medicaid, etc., right? They are trying to come back with this tiny loophole, being like, oh, but there are some federal funds that could possibly on the state level, da-da-da. You know what they're actually pointing to is that Ronald Reagan in the 1980s, the United States passed a law that said if you walk into an ER, a hospital cannot refuse you care if you can't afford it, if you're not covered. Because we decided that we wanted to be a civilized country, that if someone gets hit by a car and they're bleeding out, that a doctor isn't checking like for their insurance coverage before they go rush into an emergency room. Like, that you are treating the human being first, because we don't want to live in, trust me, regardless of your stances on immigration, you do not want to live in a country where that law is reversed. I guarantee you that. I guarantee you that. The point is that they are scrapping and grasping at straws because they have nothing else. Laugh at them. Stephen Miller is a clown. I've never seen that guy in real life, but he looks like he's like 4'10", and he looks like he is angry about the fact that he's 4'10", and he looks like he is so mad that he is 4'10", that he's taking that anger out at any other population possible. Shout out to our short kings. Someone said not short king, short troll. That's correct. There's a difference. Back then, Tom Homan decides that he's going to try to threaten me. And he's going to say, I'm going to request that the Department of Justice open an investigation onto you, a legal investigation onto you into aiding and abetting crime. Excuse me? Aiding and abetting crime. We are aiding and abetting the prevention of crime, because people need to know their rights so that their rights aren't violated. So anyways, he goes on and makes this huge public announcement about how he wants to target me for a federal investigation. That's a very serious thing, right? This guy has a lot of power, right? He was the acting director of ICE. He has a direct line to Pam Bondi at the Department of Justice, a department whose actual respect for the law is eroding by the day. And it doesn't matter whether it's legal or not. It doesn't matter if it's right or not. They have the power and they are positioned to abuse their power and to open such a thing on totally baseless grounds that even if it's false, they can try to do that, right? And so that's a scary thing. So I can respond to that by being scared and stopping my Know Your Rights seminars, right? Pulling back. But I didn't, because this guy is a joke. Kristi Noem is a joke. J.D. Vance, the vice president of the United States, went behind a podium and went, boo-hoo-hoo, the shutdown is AOC's fault. This man isn't vice president of the United States of America. You know what I have to say to that? You look like a clown back there. You're the second most powerful person in this country and you're crying about me? And you're blaming the whole government shutdown on me? LOL, my guy. These people do this in order to make themselves feel powerful. Because deep, deep, deep down inside, they feel and know how small they are. And in order for a small person to feel big, they have to crush someone else.